Hey, everybody. What's up, Facebook fam? Good evening. How you doing? I see all the messages coming through. Welcome to COXtales Facebook Live Edition. I'm very excited about this chat, and I'm just waiting for you guys to come through and post some of your questions as well. Hope you guys have been staying healthy, and I hope that you've been wearing your masks. And I just wanted to touch a little bit on this voting. I hope that you guys are also getting out there and letting your voice be heard. I know that these are really crazy, trying times, but we need new leadership. And yeah, so I just want to make sure everybody's in. We good? We good? All right. Well, let's get right into this, man. I'm so excited to be talking to my dear friend, songwriter, producer extraordinaire, and pastor of ECM Ministries. It's my chat with the incredible Shep Crawford. Let's get into it. Hey, Shep.
What up, Deborah Cox?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
So good to see you, man. I come from virtual dinner. It's dinner time.
Right? I know it's been, this has been, it's some crazy times, but I
Yes,
think,
yes.
you know, as somebody who knows how to weather the storm, how have you been dealing with COVID?
2020 is going to be that year that's in the history books. Our great grandchildren or our grandchildren will, end up telling us that they studied it in school. I think it is a significant change all over the world. There's never been a year like 2020.
Yeah.
But we learn to adjust. I've learned to embrace that we are in it. Sometimes we can be so anxious to get out of something that we don't recognize the nuggets in it. And there's
Yeah.
things that we can only get out of a storm like this. So I'm grateful for it. And I want it to pass. I'm ready to touch people again
Right,
and
right.
go outside. But at the same time, I understand, that it is what it is. And, God has decided not to remove it at this time. So we need to do our job to stay safe. And at the same time, try to find out what he's saying in this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drawing inward,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
To hear that still voice. Um,
Yes.
so you're celebrating, let's get into your ministry. You're celebrating 10 years with ECM this
Yes.
week.
10 years. 10 years,
Tell
mama.
us about that, because it's quite a transition to go from you know songwriter, producer, like, to pastor. So
Yeah.
how's that
Right.
transition
Well, I
been? It's
still turn
10
up.
years. What are you doing?
I still turn up. um, but at the same time, it's a great thing. My wife and I, Shalonda Crawford, we started our ministry in 2010. We didn't start it under any umbrella. No bishop, it didn't branch off from any other church. We started it from scratch, and it has been a blessing. We're out the box, but in the word, we made it a point to go after people who were either tired of church or just didn't attend. People
Mm-hmm.
who felt like God didn't love them. And that was our, intentions from the beginning. We got a lot of flack. I think you remember all the flack we got at the beginning for
Yeah.
the stuff that we did. I brought
Is
R&B love
unconventional.
songs into the church, you know what I mean? And which is originated from God. So, but I think, pretty much after eulogizing Nipsey Hussle is kind of when the world was kind of able to see, what I was really doing. And it's just the progressive movement of God's love.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for me, knowing you for so long, I mean, we
Mhm.
go well over 20, 25 years, 30 years
Yeah.
almost. It's just like incredible to see your growth, incredible to see how you have used your God-given talent. I mean, I've always felt that you were ministering through your music anyway, through the songs.
Yes.
Like if you listen to "Nobody's Supposed to Be Here," which the underpinning of it is gospel,
Yes,
um,
exactly.
right, right.
Yes.
I think you were always playing your role or your purpose. Talk about how you move from ministering in the industry to now really ministering, I guess, under as a pastor.
Yes, I always knew that God had a calling in my life. I've been ministering. I was preaching when I was a teenager, but music was my, the dream. Something that I went after. Particularly in my early 20s, and God gave me a lot of success in it. But I always knew, on the road, you remember,
Yeah.
we get a chance. I'm going to talk about love, God, and relationships and different things of that sort. But I think God just kind of knocked me down a little bit, just to kind of grab my attention and move me into pastoring. It wasn't just enough just to be preaching here or there, talking here or there, but form a organization that we can make disciples, that they can go out to their families and to their jobs and different things and do that. And so we really went and did exactly that. And it was a great thing. It was hard because people didn't really receive me as a pastor at first.
Yeah.
And that's the producer,
Yeah, because you're in the industry, and
Right,
there's so much, there's such a stigma, I think, with pastors and bishops and with the church in general. So I think,
right.
to what you did was really um it was avant-garde, very taboo, I think.
Yes, yes,
And the timing of it all too, it wasn't
yes,
like in the height of so
yes,
much success with the records, to
yes.
step away and want to be another voice in a different lane was really was a lot. I remember,
Yes, yes.
the
It was time. God, sometime God will dry up what he gave you. I mean, he will get your attention. Like, he gives you something, and then he'll start bringing it in a little bit to get your attention, to point you somewhere else. So I say there changes. Like, he had you there, but now he has you there. So there changes. The same ministry, the same thing, but you got different assignments, through life.
yeah.
You'll be assigned different places.
Yeah, so talk about "Nobody's Supposed to Be Here." This challenge
Man.
is every
Yes.
this challenge has
Yes.
been ongoing, still going. There are babies singing the song, there are teenagers, young and old,
Yes.
everybody's singing the song. It's been really thrilling, gratifying, humbling, amazing for me, because I feel like, I mean, the song has just the resurgence of it, the reawakening, I think, of the song is what I think is what's most telling. So talk
Yeah.
about writing the song and where it came from and what inspired it,
Well,
because the
it
people
was,
want to know.
yes, yes. So nobody's supposed to be here. I think it's no secret that originally I had Patti LaBelle in mind. And so I wanted a very churchy feel. But I want to talk about something that everybody goes through, but want to say it in a very different way. So I used love as an object. I'm turning around and you're standing here. How did you get here? It was for people who were tired of love. Just, I'm through. I'm gonna be single. And as soon as you say that, sometime God will present who you're supposed to be with. And so that's what that song, the lyrics was. I remember singing it to Montel, and the hook, and he allowed me to the studio and actually put it down, the demo. I came in, and Montel Jordan, great writer, gave some penmanship on it that just enhanced it and even made it better. So it was great writing it. We knew that in that time, that type of record wasn't popular, because everybody was on everybody was on that trick beat up. And here we talking about I've spent all, you know what I'm saying? So but thank God I think God knew from the beginning. Of course, I know God had you in mind from the beginning. And I think that he had me put Patty in mind because I probably never would have made it as churchy.
Mm.
You know, think,
Mm-hmm.
never would have made it as big. You're thinking, it's for a younger Deborah Cox. I would have listened to your album and I would have made it a little bit more younger. But you came on and made it younger because
Mm.
you're young. You know what I mean? And it was amazing because the ride that it went through. And I had you and I was getting ready to work together on We Can't Be Friends.
Yeah.
And I remember when my manager called and told me, she said, "What do you think about Deborah Cox doing this song?" And I had just saw you on the Lou Rawls Parade of Stars. I don't know what
Lou
song it was,
Rawls
but you were like,
Parade of.
and I was like,
Ah! I was
"Wait,
singing Natural Woman. I'm
yes,
a natural
oh,
woman. I'll
yes,
be there when there's no one. 'Cause my loving is real. But you don't see it now since you put me down. But I'll be there for you when there's no one around."
yeah, you were killing it." And I was in the screen like this, word. I was looking at the TV like, so I'm like, dude, this chick can sing. And for me to get the call that day that you were interested and nobody's supposed to be here is God.
Yeah.
That is God.
I forgot about that story. That's crazy.
Yes.
I remember you telling me that, but I forgot. And I was just thinking to myself during this pandemic, as you know, um, so many things are revealed to you. There's a lot of revelation that happens when you're in isolation. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what's been happening is I'm thinking back to all of the songs that I've recorded and just different moments in my life, and it's all lining up and I'm going, wow, God
Yes. Yes.
has had a plan this whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy that I was
Yeah.
singing that song and you
Yes.
that's
Because
crazy.
in the studio, you have the TV on, but it's muted because you're doing music, but you have it on.
Yeah.
And so it's Lou Ross Parade of Stars, a bunch of y'all, singing. I'm in the studio working, and I saw you, turn it up, turn it up, and you're killing it. And I
Right.
didn't know. I mean, I knew, of course, from your first albums, particularly Sentimental, that you can sing. You were very jazzy, but I
Right.
had no idea. Like I was really touched, like vibes. And then a couple of hours later, they're like, "Kristen is online too. Pick it up." And she says, "Listen, so I just talked to Clive. And what do you think about Deborah doing that song?" Like I can vision and I'm
Right.
envisioning where I was, in talking to her. I was in a captain chair like this, and I said, "Kristen, it's amazing that you're telling me this right now. Like I just saw her on TV singing at the Lou Rawls thing." I said, "She can handle it." She said, "You think?" I said, "Kristen, this woman can sing." I said,
Wow.
"Trust me, she can sing. And if the world is kind of sleeping on her vocal skills like I was before that performance, this would be
Hmm.
the song to let everybody know. Like this girl got church all in her. I mean, it was clean, her range, everything." And
Right.
and so it happened. You came to the studio and you did just that.
Listen, I knew that song the first time I heard that song. I knew. You don't even have to hear the whole song.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You just know.
Yes. I remember your face when we played it. Um, and that's what I wanted. That's the effect that I wanted. And I wanted a
Yeah.
singer to get it.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna sing it, get it. And you was like, I have to have that song. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's why we were discussing We Can't Be Friends, which was another number one. But you literally like had to have that song. And it worked out so well. When I look up the other ways it could have went,
There
God
were
just
other
has
ways.
a
Right.
yeah, God just has a way of what you think is the finish line is actually a marker. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that's what it was when I got there. Okay, no, now you got to go here. And you laced it. I mean, you killed it. I wish back then we were able, that was our first record together, but I wish,
Yeah.
we had recorded the session and for people to be able to see you in there performing that song, like you were performing it as well too. Like you wasn't sitting on the stool. I remember, I think you had on like this black leather jacket and you were in there and you were killing it. And I knew right then and there, like, yo, this is going to be bananas.
Yeah. I remember, I think one thing that what I loved about that session was that the moment, in the second verse, this time I swear I'm through, but if
Mm-hmm.
only you knew how many
Mm-hmm.
times I've said
Yeah.
those words and fall again. When will I ever learn? Knowing these tears I've cried.
Mm-hmm.
Then fall again. When will I ever learn? Like there's certain moments that you allow the sort of jazz inflections to come in, that I
I'm just,
appreciate it, because not a lot of producers tend to be very rigid when it comes to the production of their songs, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
so it
yeah,
was nice to just be able to just kind of be free and explore a few
yeah.
things in the song.
First of all, to all the aspiring writers and producers, please try to get with an artist who could just sing her song like that and sound like the record, like it's nothing. Like she just went through it. You remember when I said, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that they can sing it, you know what I'm saying, on COXtales. You know what I'm saying? Live. I'm still impressed. She just went on like, yeah, so when I did that, I'm like, wait a minute. That's a lost talent. Who can do that? Somebody else would have been playing the record. Listen to it on the phone. This is how it sounded 20 years ago. But
No, but that's how and me. When
yes,
I get married to a song, like I get
yes,
married to the chord changes. I
yes,
feel it in my
yes,
soul, like I feel it in every fiber of my
yes,
being. So
yes,
it's very hard to change keys. Like I
yes.
know at some point I'm gonna have to, lower keys here and there but
Oh,
it's
we have fought you on the road. We said, Deborah, you're singing 3 times a day.
yeah,
Let's lower the key. No, but it'll change what I do. It'll
it
change the
changes the
way I
feel. I
like
can't
Deborah.
sing. I spent all my life on a search to find the love. It's not the same. I spent all. It's gonna be like that till the end.
Yes. I was like, all right. You singing to something, but every night you delivered it. It's a God-given talent. And when you talk about chord inflections, and I know if I'm sitting at the piano about to write something for you or send something to you, I know that you are a musician by heart. Like
Yeah.
I know you don't literally sit down and play, but you know every chord, every change, and
Mm-hmm.
know how to marry it. And so
Yeah.
I know who you. I think Jam and Lou and everybody who has worked with you. I think they know when we work with you, it's got to be right.
Yeah.
Particularly bands. Bands gotta be right, because you'll be like, oh no, that's not the bass note. It's supposed to.
That's true. That's true. We'll get into, we'll have musicians and drummers, y'all know.
Yes,
Drummers, y'all got to
yes,
listen to your part, because it's not just it's not your basic drum. There's a certain pulse that the drummers have to bring. And I
yes,
can always tell when they've listened to the song and when they haven't, because they always miss the
yes,
bridge, or they
yes,
miss, the pulse and We Can't Be Friends. Y'all drummers
yes.
know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing because you actually gave the drummer a part. We were in um, Savannah, I believe, and the drummer was playing "We Can't Be Friends," and he
Right.
was going,
Right.
and you said, "No, it's."
No. Hey, that
And then I was like, "You did
that's
it
the
in your
pulse.
mic." Like I was like, I
Drummers
told
do
when
it
you left.
all the time, Shep.
You know? I said, let me tell you something. This woman knows her music. She knows her music. She knows what every instrument is supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah. That's why it's difficult now to not have you on the road because you're a hard act to follow. All
Thank
the
you.
MDs know.
Yeah.
They know.
Right.
No, they know. They know.
Yeah.
And they respect that there's a level of respect and there's a level of integrity that you've brought to the music, that you've brought to the records, that people know that they have to live up to and show up to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we salute you. We appreciate you for all of that and all that you've
Thank you.
done.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's important, I think, to recognize that, because
Yes.
the tutelage is different now.
Hmm.
These producers are very, very different in how they approach records and songs and
Hmm.
stuff. And so, as I even make a transition and continuing to do music and R&B
Hmm.
and me, I get bored. I
Yeah.
get bored doing the same style, or I like
Right.
to switch it up. I come
Yeah.
from I like different styles of music, as you know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
so yeah, and so it's been interesting navigating not having you there on the piano, by my side to,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
what's
Yeah.
happening? But
Yeah.
saving souls is
I'm gonna have to just come out when this code is over. I might have to come out a couple of those things because it was magic. Like we didn't even have to rehearse. You could just put us on
right.
stage and let's sing. You know what I mean? And I'll
Yeah.
play you sing, and I know if you went somewhere, I can follow it.
Right.
And if I went
Right.
somewhere, you can follow it. It's just really knowing your artist, knowing I know what chords move you, what to push
Right.
you. If the crowd is not there yet, I know how to be there for you as a crowd through the music. You know what I mean?
Right.
Until everybody gets it. So
Yeah, that's the thing that I think a lot of people are really interested in hearing is just how we have um continued to keep that connection all through the years. I mean, we've traveled the world,
yes,
we've done so many different types of gigs, we've done small little intimate clubs to big, we've been all over, and it's been a
yes,
real blessing and a real privilege, honestly, to have you
yes,
there as a part of my journey, and
yeah.
it's and like I said, this COVID has made me really reflect on all of that, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, it was. I mean, it's a great thing. We really became great friends. Our families became great friends. I remember when I was going through my little thing, and just divorced from my first marriage, and I was like, I need to come out there and hang out with y'all for a while. You know what I mean?
right.
And I came out and hung with the family.
Talk about that,
Yes,
because a lot of people don't know that in the midst of the great success, of so many records, not just mine, but
yeah,
Cisco and Tamia and Montel. And I mean, it was just like record after record after record, all this amazing success. And Shep, you were in this place where you were trying to search and find
yeah.
a love who'll stay for eternity.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, it was
Right.
it was a great thing because your success was doing well, but your life was in shambles. And then looking back at it, is there's no fault blaming, but that's just where I was at the time. And I remember I just needed to get out of LA. I needed to stop for a few weeks. And I called you and to talk to you and sales. It's like, listen, I just need to come out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, come on. You know what I mean? Come on. We was eating cereal in the morning. You turned me on to this to the cereal that I can't think of the name of it. Uh,
Cinnamon toast,
yeah, you turned me on
cinnamon
some.
toast crunch.
We were just.
Oh,
It
oh,
was.
Captain Crunch. No, you like Captain Crunch.
Yeah. No. It was. I can't think of the name. Honey oats.
Oh, oh.
Yes, honey oats. And but you had a piano there,
Yeah,
and and we got a chance to just kind of whenever we wanted to sit and vibe. And I think
yeah,
that's where I realized really how magical, and how easy it is. Because before then we'd just been working on tracks and getting together and sitting at the piano to work out parts, but we started clowning around singing everything. You know what I mean? And
commercial jingles.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Whitney, we were,
Yeah,
Gladys, we were doing a lot of stuff. So I think through our time, just as friends, also helped to build that chemistry.
Yeah.
You don't have to say if you're on stage and you don't like what's going on. You don't have to say it. I know by your
Right.
expression. I know by the look back. I know if you're feeling it or not. I know if you can hear yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're having
Yeah.
fun, if you're bothered. And I think
Right.
that just comes to time and chemistry.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And with me, it's all about having fun. It's like
Yes.
if I'm not having fun,
Yep.
I don't like anything to be laborious.
Right.
That's when it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
But I think that's interesting. A lot of people would never know that, those were some of your real challenging times,
Yeah.
just
Yes.
on a personal tip. And we do shows, and after the show, we'd be on this high, but then, you'd be in this place. So how
Yes.
did you meet Shalonda? Tell that story.
Well, it's crazy because you were singing at Stevie Wonder House of Toys.
Yeah,
You and Luther. It was 2002. And so I went there. I went backstage. You remember I came back
yeah,
there to say what's up to you. Luther as well. I just worked with him, so I did so. And then and I stayed with you backstage for a while, and then you left. You had to catch a flight, but I
yeah.
went back out, into the audience, and I saw my girl Dee Dee Foster, who was also Shalonda's friend,
Dee Dee
and
Foster too?
yes,
Oh
yeah,
wow, I didn't
Dee
know
Dee,
that.
yeah, Dee Dee
Okay.
Foster is who introduced me and Shalonda
And Shalonda
that
was
same day
was
because they were there to sing for Heather Headley.
singing for Heather Headley,
Yes,
right? And then we'll
yes,
talk about the song that we ended up
yeah.
on Heather Headley.
Yes, exactly. Ain't that crazy? Yes.
Yes.
They were singing for Heather Headley. So when I saw Dee Dee, she was like, I want you to meet my girl Shalonda. And then Shalonda turned around like, and I was like, 6 months later,
You
we were
are a
back
fool.
out some toys. This is serious business.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you, Chef?
So thank you for
Woo!
inviting me to the House of Toys that night.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And give me the free backstage passes.
Wow. And now
Yeah,
you're
man, we're in the
married.
prime. Yes.
And now you're married. And it's been how long? 2004?
17 years. Yep.
17
Going on,
years.
yep. 17 years.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
ma'am.
And then, okay, so another story which is really interesting about just God's plan was we're working on the second album. No, the third album, Morning After album.
Mm-hmm.
There were different producers that we were, working with. We're working with Teddy Riley,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a moment there. All of those songs, nobody heard. Not like nobody got it. you
Yeah.
know, um, but there was a song that, and I remember this vividly, is because I was out on the phone talking to Clive, and there was a song that we had written called "Always Been Your Girl."
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
I loved that song.
Yes.
Can you tell me that I'm not her? Say I'm not the one who completes your world. Who should
Yes.
wear the tie? I can't remember the words, but I
Yes.
remember I loved the song.
Yep.
And Clive and the label were like, no, they
Yes.
didn't hear it. They did not hear it. And I was like,
Yes.
talking about
Yeah, I remember you
what?
were up. Yeah,
Yo,
you
I
were
was
upset about that.
so
Yes,
mad.
I remember.
You remember? Yeah, I was mad, yo. I was
Yeah, I
like,
haven't seen that would have probably been my first time seeing you really that upset. Like you felt that song. I
yeah,
mean, in the writing session, it started off by saying, "Don't lie to me." A best friend looking at her male best friend like,
yeah,
you date another chick for real?
right.
And I've been here. I mean, we got in the studio along with Lascelles, and and we nailed that. And I remember for some reason they couldn't hear that record.
They couldn't hear that record. Man,
Yeah,
that took me a long time to get over that. I was
yeah,
like, I
right.
can't believe it. Like, yeah, I was crushed.
Yeah.
And then I remember when you came to Miami and you played me this song. You were like, yeah, you were walking on eggshells.
Right, right,
You
right.
were like, yeah, yeah, this song
Because I
was
let you know
covered though,
everything
Deb.
I'm doing, but I was hesitant on this one.
Yeah.
You
You were
know.
real hesitant. I was like, okay. So,
Yeah,
who recorded it? And you're like, yeah,
yeah,
Heather Headley.
yeah.
I was like, okay.
On J Records.
On Jay. Yes.
Years later. Yes. Yes. RJ Records. Clive Davis. He heard it years later.
Right.
Yes.
But you said, Deborah, Heather performed the song and
Mm-hmm.
killed it.
Mm-hmm.
She killed it. Like she
Yeah.
just embodied the story
Yes.
and just with voice and piano was like, don't lie to me, even
Yes.
if it's gonna make me cry. And I was like,
Yes.
dang.
Exactly.
Like, damn, and
Exactly.
she sang it too. Like, so she was dope,
Yes.
dope. Like, really? Great.
Yes.
That doesn't
Shalonda
help
told
my
me,
case.
yeah, Shalonda told me because Shalonda toured with her, and so this would be her encore song. It would just be her and piano,
Oh,
and Shalonda told me that that was the one that just made the whole audience cry. Like that was her song. At the time, Shalonda not knowing me, but
right.
she knew the record. She looked, Shalonda was a credit reader, and so, but that was her favorite Heather Headley song. So just to find out.
Wow.
Yes, it was crazy, but she said that song brought down the house. It just Heather and piano, and Heather got that conviction in
No,
her voice.
Heather
Yes,
Headley, for the people who don't, Heather Headley
yes,
originated the role of Nala of The Lion King.
yes,
She is the original Aida on Broadway.
right, yes,
She's an
exactly,
absolute. I never used to like being called a beast, but I understand what it means now.
right,
The
right,
first time I was like, I ain't a beast, but now I get it. you know, no,
right,
she's a beast. That woman
yeah,
is a beast when it comes to drama and when it comes to like articulating lyrics. And I
yes,
think that song, she just maybe,
yeah,
articulated it different. And, Clive used to always say that, some of the best Whitney songs have been songs that well, I mean, she hasn't, Whitney didn't write her music. So, but she
right,
had a way of interpreting these songs. And
yes,
I think Clive, I guess maybe heard that in me, said I was always a storyteller. And maybe
yes,
with some of my own songs, he didn't, I don't know. But for some
right.
reason, I'm able to articulate other people's music. But I was so salty about that song in
I
particular because I
remember.
really loved it. I really loved
I
it. But
remember.
we had Play Your Part on that album,
Yep,
which
yep, yes,
can
yes,
you pretend? I mean, I love singing that song live. People always
yes.
ask if, what are your top three songs? That's definitely my top three song.
Wow, that was
That
hard
song.
to write because how do you write a song for Deborah Cox after nobody's supposed to be here and we can't be friends? Like,
Right.
so how do I'm going to the studio, like, what do you do here? Like, and you remember I had several tries at some joints. Some joints I sent
Right.
you like, well, Shep, you got anything else? You know what I mean? But I sent play your part, and I remember Lascelles called me, and I thought he didn't like it because he played a little joke. He said, yeah, you said you was sending some fire. And I said, yeah. He said, this is what you call fire? And I said, why, yes. He said, me too. I love it. And I was like, oh, okay. Because
That
I didn't
song,
play,
when I
after
heard
that,
that
I couldn't
song,
play no
Play Your
more
Part,
part.
when I heard Play Your Part, I was
Yes.
like, man,
Yeah. Can you pretend to be the
can
man
you,
I should have been with?
how do you come up with that? Like, how do you even, so when you hear a song like that, I mean, come on.
Yeah. And that's the in writing songs like that, I try to imagine, imagine a woman saying, I'm in a relationship now. I should have stayed with blank blank, but I didn't. You know, at least I know that you're not nice. I know, act like you love me. Like it offends me that you're not even acting like you love me. And that's what play your
Right.
part was. Like, this is a role you signed up for, to love me. Play a role, read your
Mm-hmm.
lines, do your job, and able to put that into a song mode. And of course, I knew you were going to, kill it, and that's why I kind of gave it the whole gospel thing again,
Mm.
and it worked, and you did exactly that.
Man, I love that song. And I
Yes,
feel like the sister to it was Starting With You. That was always a
yes,
song on the morning after that. And we'll delve more into
yeah,
some of the songs on another episode. But I definitely want to talk a little bit about Starting With You, because uh that's a song that is like that's I talk about message music a lot. Like I feel like, you know,
mm-hmm,
mission accomplished. I've been able to sing songs that have a message to them, because I consider
yeah,
myself, the storyteller.
yes,
So that was that's been a blessing. And Starting With You was, I think, the most messagey of all the songs that
mm-hmm,
I've done.
yes,
Right?
yes. The girl shows up on your door.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you know, when we keep hearing the same thing, you're supposed to be there for your friend. But
Yeah.
this girl shows up on your door. She keeps coming back. She stays there for a while, and then she goes back. And I think it was time for you to tell her, that the change is starting with you. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to treat you the way, nobody has done us more wrong than us. We, we've allowed things, and I think in that song, you're telling the girl, like, why would he stop if you're going to be there? Why would he stop? You already know who he is,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to fit that in the song and get that message,
Yeah.
and with the power, he's only gonna treat you. But it's a very powerful song or whatever. So it's timeless. I think today you can send it to that friend who keep running
Oh
back to an
yeah.
unhealthy relationship and say, listen to this.
And there was a lot of that going on. I mean, so many
Yes,
people that were just kind of, staying with each other, not really getting married, but still doing, like, just
yes,
together, just passing the time, just staying close, but just in
yes,
case,
yes.
something happened. You know what I mean? There's a
Hmm.
lot of that going on. So that was the song that
Yes.
I think really spoke to
Yeah.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so do we have some questions coming in?
Let's see.
Let's see. Anybody got some questions? It's Q&A time. All right, let's see. Um, okay, I can see it better here. Out of all the songs you guys have recorded, did you know that they were all going to be such big hits?
I knew that whenever we were finished with a song, I expected it to be a big hit.
Yeah.
Because nobody's supposed to be here. You and I expected it to be a big hit. It took a while for radio programmers and everything to pick it up,
Ooh,
but
remember
we,
that? Remember
yes,
that? Where everyone has
yeah,
amnesia now, but there were a lot of
yeah,
programmers that were like, this ain't
yeah,
gonna get played. It's too gospel. It's too this.
yes, yeah. It's too
And not
churchy,
only
but
did they
we
play it, it ended up breaking the record too. How did you
sure
feel
did.
about that when you first heard about it?
Well, it's crazy. I first got the call, and told me Jerry Springer. No, listen, Jerry
What?
Springer told me because he was on the set. I did a song for Shay Jones talk show, and he was
Talk
on the
show.
set with her. Yeah, doing the video, and so my telling all them was there, and they had him call me and tell me, you know what I mean,
Oh my
that the song
gosh.
went number 1. Yes, and
That's
I couldn't believe it. I think I
yeah,
never got a chance to embrace it. That
right.
I produced a number 1 record, because the next week it was number 1. Then the
Yeah.
next week it was number 1. To the next week it was number one. Like, so, and for 2 months, you know what I mean? A little over 2 months, 14
Yeah,
weeks at
and
number
it
one.
went
So
over. It crossed over to the next year.
yes,
Yeah, 98
yes,
into 99. Yeah. Because
yes,
I
yeah,
specifically remember that New Year's Eve, we hit like 4 gigs that night. So
yes,
it was a very, very busy time. And like you said, you don't get a chance to really embrace it or understand all that's going on because you're just in it.
right,
But that
right.
song and then the dance version just took on a whole life of its
Yes,
own.
Heck,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I remember Heck calling me, telling me because the song was in the 60 beats per minute, it was perfect. How you could just take your voice and put it into the dance mix, and it just took it to a whole nother level.
And we were
Um,
using tape, 2 inch. So
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about that.
yes. I mean,
Talk about
today,
that.
anybody
Hmm.
who's in the music industry today, that everything's recorded digitally, like on Pro Tools, particularly, and where you can manipulate the all of the audio, particularly the vocals and different things of that sort. But we recorded every record that we just named was recorded to 2-inch tape. I
Yeah.
was like the last producer to I was like,
Oh
nope,
yeah,
old school.
you were kicking and screaming. You were like, I don't know about all this digital stuff. You were
Yeah,
not
yes. It wasn't
having
until
the
I started
transition.
working at the house that they was like, well, you can't bring a 2-inch in here. You got to work the Pro Tools. Um, but it was you came in and you killed those things on 2-inch tape. I never pitched your vocal or had to sustain it or have to auto correct it. We didn't have those elements.
Yeah.
What you had on there was it. Um, and there was times you just nailed it on the first take. I would get a second and third take because at this point I think you weren't living in LA. I think you had moved to Florida at
Florida.
this time.
Right.
And I knew I didn't want to, I was so excited. I didn't want to wake up the next morning like, oh, I should have got this, I should have got that. And then, you fly
Yeah.
back out, then that ends up on your budget. So,
Right.
but literally there was times I knew that when you sung it, it was it. I mean, I could see your veins. There were also times I used to tell producers, sometimes you don't look at the artist because sometimes I can be so wrapped up in your performance and I know that everybody else is going to hear the record without seeing you.
Hmm.
So I have to close my eyes and just use my ears and make sure that, we're hearing what I'm seeing. And that's exactly what it
Mm.
was. You came in and did it. You know what I mean? And it was very important that you loved every song that you did. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
was never, ever offended if you didn't love a song because I knew if you loved it, you came to the
Yeah.
studio, you didn't have to have no lyric sheet. You knew you knew your stuff. We'll
Hmm.
talk for a while, and then you'll say, "Oh, we ready?" And then
Right.
you'll start doing that weird warm up.
That I still do to this day.
I know. And we
Yep.
roll
Yep.
that track, and you kill it.
Woo! Yep.
Yes, yes. And you
Yeah.
would just start singing. You put on those headphones, and we would press play. And as a producer, our job is to get the levels. Like, what level are you singing at, so we can do it. So that first take is never usually the take. But I had to make sure we press record because you went you went for it. Like you just, you
Hmm.
dove into the character of it, and you were always felt like you sung it as if you wrote it. Like you sung it as
Right.
if you were that character. Nobody's
Hmm.
supposed to be there. You sung it as if you just fell in love. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? We can't be friends. You sung it as if you just lost your love. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
so I think those things were very important. Like the songs are great, but it was you that delivered it, and that made it, I'm saying, that made it great. People listening to your voice, listening to your range, the energy that you put into it, the money notes that everybody loved. No, 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 no,
Money notes.
no. You know what I'm saying? And we can't be friends. Can you look me in the eyes?
Right.
You don't love me. That is theatrics on
Yeah.
tape. Can you look me in the eye and honestly say you don't love me like that?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's an argument that happens. If I
Right.
said, "Can you look me in the eye and tell me you don't love me?" That's the way you sung it. It wasn't. Can you look me in the eye and tell me you don't love me? You don't love me. No, wait, what? None of that. So I think people people were able to adjust, and then
Yeah.
so I knew when I recorded with you that if we finished the song and it got put out, that it was going to be number one on somebody's charts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I love most about the songs, your songwriting is that they can be broken down without any other instruments, just a voice and piano, and you get the theatrics of it. Because look, musical theater is in my blood. I always love drama. Like I love
Yes.
theatrics, and when it's in a song, like we used
Yeah.
to be in the remember when we used to be in the studio and we used to talk about Bonnie Tyler and
Hmm.
Meatloaf and all these
Yes.
80s records that had all that
Yes.
drama and Michael Jackson and
Yes.
that's the era and growing up in Toronto, I mean that's what was played on the radio. There was all those 80s
Yep.
joints. Phil
Yep.
Collins,
Yes. You
and
believe them.
yeah, yeah. So I think I think I can hear those influences as soulful as your songs are. Lionel Richie, like when you come up in that time, you hear all those influences in the music, you
Right.
know? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we both
Yeah.
love the 80s.
Oh my
Turn
gosh.
around every now
Every
and
now and
then.
then I get a little bit lonely and you never come
Yes.
around.
Yes.
Every now and then. I mean, Bonnie Tyler, that voice, that crack, and she
Yes.
just sounds like she's using, it's
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
beautiful. It's amazing.
Yes,
Okay, so
ma'am.
more questions. Will we ever get
Okay.
the chance to hear the Deborah Tamia Kelly project? Please. No, we're at different stages in our life now. I think all of us are, we're all, like I said, right? We're in different phases.
Yes.
One song that I've always loved though from that was Mirror.
Yes.
That was a great
Yeah.
record.
Yeah. 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 To me, it tells me the same thing. Like
That's a
that
great
was a
song.
song.
Oh
But you
yeah.
know what? You make. I always tell people when they ask me that. I say, listen, make you a playlist. Deborah to me and Kelly. I got my Deborah to me and Kelly albums because you can make playlists now on Apple Music. You know
Right.
what I
There
mean?
you go.
Yeah. Right. But just that timing, we almost got it, but just that timing of everything, going on. But I'm glad because I love all of you guys. I'm still able to work with all you guys and
Yeah.
and so many more divas of that time who are still out here reigning. So
Yeah,
it's a great
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the takeaway from all this is that, we have been a part of the influence for all these new artists that are coming up. Um,
Yes.
and we're able to really really connect with them because of social media in a way that we
Yeah.
never could before.
Right.
I'm able to stay in touch with even the divas that, preceded, Patty and Gladys
Yeah.
and Jody
Yeah.
Watley and all these
Yes.
incredible artists that again me growing up it was Aretha. All these artists were always on the radio and you'd always hear their incredible songs and their rage and the way that they interpreted music. So um
Yes.
now we're that for these newcomers that are
Yes.
doing the Deborah Cox challenge and
Yes.
singing with all their throat.
Right. Yes. Yes. And you
All the
also had the
throat.
legends. You had the legends of you when because after nobody's supposed to be here, of course, I was able to work with real singers.
Right.
And so I worked with Gladys Knight. I worked with
No.
Luther Vandross. And I remember working with Gladys, in her home. She had just
Mhm.
come back from jogging and she came to the studio to hear the song and she said she's going to shower and change and come back. We talked for about 45 minutes and she talked about how that song was big for the movement for R&B,
Mm.
in that time.
Yeah.
And just talked about how you killed the song like an auntie. Like she was like, I mean, that girl song. And when I get stuff like that from her, from Luther, from Whitney, you know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes.
That is just the legends to say to you after your second album. You know what I
Yes.
mean? That
Yeah.
this girl is here to stay. You were endorsed by the ones we looked up to. Did you ever
Yes.
imagine that? Did you ever imagine?
I I'm humbled by it because it's
Mhm.
just, like I said, to me, my moment was being in the studio with Whitney recording Same Script, Different Cast. That will
Right.
forever be the
Yes.
biggest moment, biggest highlight of my career on a personal level, because that is the singer, how much of an
Yes.
influence she was. And when, I mean, you have, I can't tell the story because I have a different perspective because of where I was at the label at the time and stuff. But to know that she was very fond of me and was embracing,
Oh my God. Yes. Yes. No, literally, she said, because the song went around, and everyone wanted to do the song with Whitney. But when he played the song for Whitney, she loved it.
yeah,
And she was asked a choice, who do you want to sing it with? Nothing was presented to her. Nobody,
right.
you got the choice of Deborah, you got the choice of Mariah, that is, who do you want to sing it with? And she said, Deborah Cox. And that's who she wanted. That's who she wanted to sing it with. And Clive told me that, at an
Mm-hmm.
award ceremony, he told me that, Whitney wants to sing it with Deborah and no one else. She wants to sing this song with Deborah Cox, and that was amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when we worked with Whitney, she's the same thing. I mean, when she heard some of your vocals, she's like, "That damn Deborah." I remember her saying, you know. And so it was an amazing ride.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really, really was. And I remember we were all in LA at the time when we finally got the chance to do it because I think I did the backgrounds and
New
there were a
York.
couple times where she was on a cruise. She was with her
Yeah,
family. She was
yeah,
spending time
yeah. She
with
bought the
with her
studio
family.
like, yeah, like I don't know why they got you in the studio. You know what I'm saying? She said, I'm here at I'm here on the cruise with, it was Bobby Christina's birthday, I believe. And so
Yes.
we were like, let's get to work. You started laying the backgrounds and different
Mm-hmm.
things of that sort or whatever. And we did our thing. But yes, a few times we waited. We wanted to get it done in New York and we couldn't.
Yeah.
But both you guys were in LA at the same time and it worked
Yeah, we
out
were
perfect.
doing the Arista anniversary
25.
special. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we were all there in LA, and it worked out that
Yeah.
we got a chance to be in the studio together. I know
Right.
that was my thing. I was just like, oh God, I just hope that we can, be together. And
Yes.
she made that happen.
Yes. Yes. It was beautiful. She actually hung out the rest of the session, even when she was done, like
Oh,
hours later.
really?
She crossed her legs and read the magazines and just hung out. Her car's outside waiting. But she was really, really good. I mean, a couple of times she didn't make it to the studio. So when she did, she bought me a bunch of clothes. I guess she got in touch with my secretary and she literally said, I did this myself. I'm sorry, for the experience in New York, but I'm here, let's work. And
Wow.
she went in like the professional and did what she did.
Yes, she did.
Yeah,
Yes, she did. Wow. Yeah, good times, man. Those are such great memories. Well,
exactly.
we're going to take one more question from the chat and then we're going to
Mhm.
wrap it up and we're going to come back again and do this again.
Yeah,
This is dope. This is really
I love
dope.
it.
Thanks for your time.
Yep.
Let's see. Who do you have? Yeah, I agree. Everyone's blown away. You guys like these stories, huh? Okay, good. They say respect, Shep.
Thank
Um,
you.
everyone is blown away. They love the stories of same script, different cast. Anyone you want to do a duet with? Um, who is it? Oh, John Capon. John Capon wants to know if there's anyone I want to do a duet with.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I think, oh gosh, I haven't really thought about it. I really like her though. Her, she's dope.
Oh, she's dope.
She's dope.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
um, okay, let me get through some more of these questions.
yeah. Because
Music,
I think
music,
you're
music,
doing
music.
Whitney.
So, Shep, okay, so tell us a little bit about how you got started in music. At what age did you start playing piano?
Oh man, 8 years old. You know,
Mm.
8 years old. I was the church musician at 12. I'm making $25 a week. I was able to buy some now and laters. I ate some now and then. I saved some. But I was yeah, and when I turned 13 or 14, I didn't want to really do music anymore. My mom made me. And so when I turned 16, I at that point wanted to do music again. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And so I'm glad that she stayed with me. I'm glad that she made me do it.
And practice,
And
because I remember you
yeah, she
saying
made
you
me
never really
practice.
liked. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like I heard people outside basketball, playing hopscotch and all of that. I was inside practicing. But I'm glad because all those people who were outside at some point worked for me. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So um, she made me stick with it. She saw the talent. She trained up her child in the way he should grow. You
Right,
know what I mean? And so I stayed with it. But Montel Jordan
right.
is the one who gave me my opportunity when he started on This Is How We Do It, and he did the tour. He brought me on as his music director, and then I became the guy going into the studio with him to do
Mm.
things. And when I recorded Nobody's Supposed to Be Here, studio time was booked, but he had to fly out. So I asked Kristen, my manager at the time, his manager as well, and wife, could I go in anyway? And I sung the
Mm.
hook. And I sung the hook and I said, my heart says, I said, I had there. I didn't have no at first.
My heart says,
Yeah, that's what I had at
It's
first.
not the
They
same.
said, yeah, yeah, they said no. You know what I'm saying? Like you can say And Montel was like, you should maybe say no. And I was like, that's great. So I went in, I started recording it, I programmed the drums, found the key progression. Wanted to make it musical, but very,
Yeah.
very churchy. I called three girls from my church. It's crazy because at one point Clive said, "Tell Shep those girls sound like three girls from his church," and I was like, "It is three girls from my church." Because at some point he wanted it to. He thought it might have sounded too churchy.
Right.
But Gail Canada, Kim Cooper at that time, and Naomi Canada, they came in and they gave it, how did
Yes.
yeah, and they
That's my
gave it. So
favorite. I love that.
yes, yes, and
Yeah.
I knew I needed to open up the song with the hook.
Yeah.
And so in doing so, and then go to that verse, and the verse had to address the pain. Nobody's Supposed to Be Here is a love song, but
Yeah.
the greatest love songs address the pain first. So
Right.
verse 1, I spent all my life, on the search to find, again, love has knocked me down. That's the pain. That's for people who are still there to give them hope. Stay in verse 1 and you'll get to the chorus. Don't quit. Even if you're in verse 1, you'll get to the chorus. Your
Mm-hmm.
chorus is coming. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, the penmanship of Montel Jordan came in and really helped out with it. And the girl we had to come in and demo the record, LaShonda Dindy. But when you came in, you just started throwing those. You just did those things. Sounded like an instrument. And
Mm.
then when you got to the part that everybody loves, and you just killed it, and you held that note
Right.
until 2020. You just stopped. You just stopped. You stopped because of the virus. But that was a long note. Even, God bless all the people who did the challenge, but there was only a few that held that, how long you held that note, and then you
Mm-hmm.
ended it with a higher note. What is that?
I tell people the emotion that came out of the song. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
that's why it's tough for me to, when I record, it's hard for me to remember ad libs.
Yeah. Right.
Right? I can never
Yeah.
remember the ad lib. You go, oh, do that again. Okay,
Yes.
I don't remember. Because I sing from that place. It's like it's very difficult to go back and redo certain things. Um,
Yes.
and that I know at that moment just came out of what I was feeling at that moment
Yeah,
in the
because you kept
song.
going. You kept
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
My heart said no. no, 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 no. Like we were in, to me, that's the part when the whole church is up and throwing church fans at you and you just doing your thing. And so you just kept singing until the record
Right.
faded. You know what I mean? And I remember when you came out, I act like I didn't record it. And you just walked right back in and let's do it again. I was like, no, no, Deborah, I got it. Come on out.
You can't play with me like that, man. You can't
Right,
do that.
right.
Oh my gosh. Because I've had some moments with these engineers where I'm being there singing and then it didn't record.
I can
I
imagine. I can imagine. Imagine hitting that note. Like I'd have
and you
felt
didn't
so
record.
bad. I would have started drinking. If I didn't record that note, and I had to tell you that I didn't get that note. I mean, it was perfect, and we rode down the level to make sure you didn't peak. I didn't want no
Right.
reason to have to and sing it again,
Right.
because I knew that was the take. You
Right.
killed it, killed
Wow.
it, killed it, killed it.
Wow, Shep. That,
Yeah,
it's
man.
it's such a treat going down memory lane and reliving a lot of those moments because we're in COVID. We don't know how long it's going to be.
Right.
Um, and until we get a chance to like really hang out again and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank you for this time. I want to thank you for, opening up, just sharing and telling all these incredible stories. We're going to come back again. I think we need to do
I
another
love it.
episode where
I love it.
we talk about, We Can't Be Friends and some of the
Yeah.
other songs, some of the other hits.
Yes.
I
Yes.
see there's some more. Are there more questions here? There's so many. Okay. Actually, and their jam is play a part, starting with you. Yes. Oh, how did you get here? Ship Brazil. They love it down in Brazil. Yeah, so a lot of comments. I have another. Okay, one last question. This will be um, um, industry purpose and kingdom purpose. Do you
Oh
think that
wow.
there's a difference?
Well, your kingdom purpose can affect the industry. Your kingdom purpose is the reason why you were born. Why am I here? Out of all of the other things that missed the egg, you know what I mean? Why did God choose? You are one of 6, billion, if you will. Why am I here? God made us distinct. Out of all the people, there's only one thumbprint that no one else had the thumbprint that you have.
Right.
Just God specifically made us different, and that's your kingdom purpose. When you find out what your kingdom purpose is to affect His kingdom here on earth, then you can carry it out in any place that
In any
God sends you.
profession.
Yes, in
Right.
fact, He will send it. He will send you there, knowing you're going to represent Him. The Bible says your gift will make room for you and bring you before great people. And so I think, I always tell people, if you want to know your purpose, figure out what pains you the most, what bothers you the most, what in life brings you to tears, because that is probably a hint of what you are purposed to fix.
Mm.
Our purpose is always a solution for someone else's problem. Our
Right.
purpose is always a solution for someone else's problem. So I think music is a way to carry that vehicle. It's a vehicle to carry the purpose. And I'm sad that a lot of Christians, that the church have made a lot of Christians feel like they can't do R&B music.
Right.
And so literally, because if people did R&B music with pastors who are over them, or people who can listen, you can do this without saying that and without doing that, and you can get this message across, our music would be much better. But the idea of of a kingdom purpose is making sure no matter where you are, you're able to carry out that purpose.
Right.
And I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Not carrying out the industry's purpose,
Right.
but carry out the kingdom purpose in the industry.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
yeah, that's another episode.
You're
So
right. Yeah, we'll get into
yeah.
that next time
Yeah.
because that's
We'll
that's really big.
yeah. I agree. I want to definitely touch on that, and I want to touch on, talk to Shalonda as well about,
Yeah.
them being married in this industry, just all of it, because it's all encompassing and it all makes so much sense now that we're
Yes.
in this place where we have to find ways to connect,
Yes.
and still keep that the dialogue going, even though we're not able to really, be close like
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
so we'll definitely get more into that. Want to say shout out to Charles Dixon. I see Kevin on here as well, Kevin Jones.
Oh, yes.
Say what's
Yes.
up to
Yeah.
Kev. What's up,
Yes.
Kevin Highland? And hey, Brown and Patricia and Vernon and Juana Mendoza, and to all of your family out there in LA. Oh, Shep,
Yes.
before you go, you have to tell me about um, you've just recently gotten the Bloods and the Crips to break bread together and
Oh,
have
yes.
dialogue, and that's incredible. Like, a lot of people don't understand that you're in the industry, but you're doing a lot of work in the street, a lot of work in the neighborhood, and a lot of work in our community, that a lot, people don't people not a lot of people know. So I just want you to share.
Yes, it's been a beautiful thing. LA, we're definitely trying to bring the peace here. Really, these guys have been trying to and have been succeeding in doing this peace movement for a while. I was brought in, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, and being brought in, it was amazing because first it was just observing. Then it got to the point where I started praying, got to the point I started talking, and now I'm deep into this peace movement where Bloods and Crips are coming together. These guys are fathers now,
Yeah.
grandfathers, the OGs. And so they're coming together. We were meeting bi-weekly, secretly for the last year and a half, where Bloods
Wow.
and Crips from different sets, would come together, break bread, talk about life, figure out things to do. And so we're just now starting to come out and let the public know what's going on. But being in those streets is, it's my calling now. It's to make sure they know that they are loved, to give them direction. These
Yeah.
guys think of their gangs as family, because
Right.
their dads wasn't around. They were either in jail or dead, and their moms had to go to work. So these guys are in the streets, and that's the life that they know. So, they need people like us, to pray for them, to be with them, and help them through this hard time. So that's what I'm doing. One of my biggest focus out here is making sure, not just on the West Coast, but hopefully all over the country. But starting here in LA is bringing these gangs together and
Yeah.
getting the peace treaty going.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Awesome, awesome. Well, God bless you. God bless your family and your heart. Continue to let God use you. We thank you. We salute you for all the incredible music that has kept people communicating, kept people on the dance floor, that has made us
hey,
and allowed us to just, travel all over the world and be able to touch lives and touch people's spirits. And to everybody who's on, thank you for logging on. We will be back. I will let you know
yeah.
when we'll be back. And we'll continue the conversation.
Yes, man. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Deborah,
You're
for
very
having me on.
welcome. You're very
Yes.
welcome. Big shout out to everybody. Much love to you.
Yes. Shout
Mwah.
out to ETM, Shalonda, and everybody. I love
Big
y'all.
shout out. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, love.
Take it easy.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.